mine asked me to tackle this topic because she's getting married. And because I gave her this advice and she said, why not share it with everybody? So I decided to make it for you. What better way to do it than to show it to you or tell it to you while I'm cooking? Let's talk about if you are getting married or you are planning to get married, then this video is for you. I'm going to talk about the wedding or pre-marriage, before you get married. Planning your wedding, what are the things that you're going to do when you're getting married. So, while I'm cooking, let me start with the first point. So these are the tips that I could suggest to you. Most of them are because I've experienced it, and the next one is because I've learned it myself when I got married. So, and to give you a little bit of a background, I've been married for 5 years, and the lessons that I've taken from that wedding and from my friend's wedding and for those people who have been married that I've spoken to are the ones that I'm going to show you today. So, let's start with the first one. The first tip is, it's stressful. I know, but it's not about the stress. It's about the process. The best part of your wedding is to be able to enjoy the process because, believe me, even though you think it's very stressful, it's actually memorable. Those stress that you have experienced during your wedding are the ones that you're going to remember. It's really funny because you're going to remember the stress more than the actual excitement itself. But the good thing is, because you've overcome those stress while doing that, you would remember that despite the fact that you have gone through those stress and those painful experience of having to go through all those tests during your wedding, and believe me, it happens, you are more excited and happy because you've succeeded it. And the check mark for that is, even though you're facing the stress while making your wedding, it's gonna be perfect. Even though I'm saying it's enjoy the process, enjoy the stress is not something you're gonna be enjoying, right? But believe me, after your wedding, you're gonna realize what I'm talking about. After your wedding, you're gonna realize that despite the fact that you have faced all those difficulties and stress, you are still gonna rock in your wedding. You're gonna still enjoy your wedding. So after that, you will say yes, because it's true. Even if you face the stress, it's gonna be a good thing for you. There's no such thing as perfect wedding. Walang perfect na wedding. Because even if you plan everything to the detail from the beginning until the end, something is gonna happen. And that thing, it's gonna be uncontrollable. And the best part about that is, even though it's uncontrollable, you still get to enjoy your wedding. And you have to enjoy your wedding, even though something happens. Like for me, during my wedding, the shoes that I chose for my wedding wasn't the best fit for my gown. Interestingly, because I thought it was perfect and it was the best thing for me. But then everybody around me told me that it's not the perfect one. So my mom had to go around and buy the wedding. So, guys, you should be thankful with your parents when you get married because they're going to be there to support you all the way. So my mom had to go around to buy me the shoes because the shoes that I had was not the best fit. And of course, your parents is going to do the best thing to make your wedding perfect. Check it out. The next one is your budget. Make sure that even if you're getting married, you should not overspend. In a sense that you don't have to owe someone money just to have the most bongacious party and the most bongacious wedding ever. Because even if you spent millions in your wedding, it's just, the reality is this, it's just gonna be one day of your life. Unless you're Indians, because Indians have like a week or something when they're getting married. It's different in every culture, but I've got plenty of Indian friends who said that they had around a week or 3 days of preparation for their wedding. And it was good because that's their culture, right? They invite everyone in their wedding, their neighbors, their friends, and I think that's their culture. But Filipinos don't have that. So, if you have a budget, make sure that you stick on your budget and do not make utang before you get married because that is not a good sign. Before getting married and you already have utang, after you get married, you're gonna be stressed more. Rather than just being stressed before you get married or before your wedding, you're gonna be more stressed after because you're gonna have to think of how you're gonna pay that utang. If you can't really spend so much in a perfect wedding, you can have the simplest wedding because of the next part. The next part is your guest list. Your guest list is something that you can control. you don't really have to invite everyone, right? And I'm sure your real friends are not gonna mind if you tell them that that is an exclusive event. Because sometimes this happens to Filipino weddings, by the way. You invite one person, they come with 5 more people with them. And normally you're having a budget for those 200 or 150 people only. And then eventually it reaches to like 200 and 250, which isn't a good thing because you are gonna overspend. But the good thing is, in our tradition, there's gonna be gala-gala and people are gonna be willing to give you more. So whatever you get from that wedding, you're gonna be spending that for the extra payments that you're gonna have during your wedding. So, your guest list is something that you can control. Meaning, you can limit your guest list to the list. You can limit your guest list to the number of people that you think are very, very necessary to be with you during the best day of your life. You don't have to invite every single person that you know. And I'm sure, again, your real friends are not gonna mind if you make it more exclusive. You cannot control probably most of what is happening in your wedding, but your guest list is definitely something that you can control. And your budget, because you're the one making it, right? You don't have to make it super duper expensive, and you don't have to invite the whole of your clan to be able to attend your wedding. But the next thing is your ninongs and ninangs. If you're getting married, then you're gonna have to have in your program your ninongs and ninangs. So your ninongs and ninangs should be those people, number one, who knows you very well enough to care about you. They don't have to be the people who are rich and you just invite them because they're gonna give you more gifts. Believe me, it's not gonna be advantageous for you. Your ninongs and ninangs should be those people that you trust, those people who knows you, and those people who cares about you. Because eventually, when you and your future husband face issues during your marriage, they're going to be the people who are going to give you a better advice about life. They're going to be people who are good examples and those people who can really actually teach you the reality of what it is to be married. So normally your ninongs and ninangs are the ones who are already married, who's been through tough times, and those who actually survived their relationship, because you're gonna learn from them. And these people should be the people who cares truthfully about your marriage. So my suggestion is your ninong and ninang should be those people who can give you a better advice when you're already married, who can support you, not really financially, not necessarily, but they might, but who can support you in your emotional struggles in the future. Those are the best things that I can give you as a tip. So, next is settle your affairs. This is very interesting. I just thought about this when I was writing this because I realized that it's very rare, but it could happen. There are people who are getting married and they haven't settled their affairs, and one day during their wedding, somebody shows up and says, "Ay, itigil ang kasal." So, before that happens, just settle your affairs. Try to fix everything, all your past relationships, so that your new one would work properly. So that and by the way, you have to be honest with your future wife or husband with whatever relation you've had, because if you don't tell them, honestly, before your wedding, you're gonna have a stressful time explaining it to them after your wedding, because the wedding is actually a time for you to make your vows and give your all honesty with your future spouse. That is gonna be your partner in life. So if you do trust him or her to get married with you or be married with you, then you're gonna have to be honest with each other. Because if you keep these secrets behind your back, if it shows up, it's gonna be a disaster later on. So as much as you can, patch those issues first before you get to your wedding day. Next is, it's all about you. This is the most important thing in your wedding. It's all about you. It's all about you and your future husband or wife. It's all about your relationship in the future. It's not about those people who are gonna attend your wedding. Believe me, when you are, and this is my own personal experience. During my wedding and when I was having my wedding, what's the most important was I never really got to think about the guests. Like really, it's not really about them. During your wedding, when you make your vows, when you actually look to your husband to be and your wife to be, and you see them smile, that is the best experience. And I realized this, the best decision that I ever made in my entire life was to get married to my husband. So I hope you're gonna be able to say the same thing. I know I'm young in terms of my marriage. I only have like 5 years of an experience, but those 5 years have been the best years of my life because I found the partner who was willing to trust me, who was willing to take care of me, and who was patient enough to understand our differences, because we are different human beings, and it's true that we are not gonna be perfect, right? There will be times that we fight with each other, we don't understand each other, but I am so blessed to have found a husband that loves God and a husband that cares most for my benefit, right? So for you, if you have your partner in life, I'm sure you're gonna be making this very, very important decision of your life. So make sure that you chose the right person. And as I mentioned in my previous topic, True Love Waits, you have to pray for that person to be able to make sure for you to be confident enough and to make sure that you're actually marrying the person that you're gonna live with for the rest of your life. And again, disclaimer, I am new. I've only had 5 years of marriage and relationship. I might not be an expert person to say that marriages are gonna work perfectly, but what I'm saying is that it's you who makes your future when you're married. It's all about you and your future spouse. It's not about the guest list. It's not about your ninongs and ninangs. It's not even about all the events that is happening, the food. And believe me, if you're getting married, because I've tried it myself, I didn't get to eat during my wedding. Even though we tasted all the food, I didn't get to eat because I was thinking about what happens next, what's the event gonna be. It's not really about the food because you're not gonna be able to. And this, maybe I can give you an advice. Ask someone in your family to make sure that you're able to eat during your wedding because you're gonna be hungry. I was so lucky that my mom and dad were there. They were like, did you eat? Did you eat? Even though you have the feast in front of you, you're not gonna be able to eat properly. So eat first before your wedding. That is an advice because you might not end up being able to eat for the entire event. I think that's the last part. So to give you a summary of what I just shared, first advice is for you to realize that the stress of your wedding is something that you will be able to overcome in the future. So don't stress yourself too much. Even if you are stressed, just take a breather. And also, there's one good tip that I can tell you. If you are currently stressed while planning your wedding, relax. Maybe go out for an hour. Give yourself a treat. Go watch a movie or something. Stop for a second thinking about your wedding and just relax. And because sometimes there are people who have these jitters that before their wedding, they're getting scared about the decision that they have made because of the stress that is putting out, the stress that is already coming out of your body. You're not able to plan your wedding properly. So de-stress yourself first. Go watch a movie with your hubby, your your boyfriend before you get sure that's gonna be your boyfriend, right? So go watch a movie with your partner, relax. Don't think about your wedding for a day if you needed it, and then get back on fire after that. And also, one more thing. For those who are getting married and your spouse or your husband is out of the country, or you're having a long distance relationship, because this is what I had before, make sure that you communicate to each other whenever you're feeling stressed about the planning of your wedding. Because some people really, really fail in making it out to their wedding because they've already been stressed to the process and they've forgotten what the wedding is all about. And believe me, the wedding is about you and your future husband, not the rest of the people, not even the event itself. It's about you and your future husband or wife or your spouse and future partner in life. Okay? There is no such thing as a perfect wedding. You just have to enjoy and make the best out of that event. So I hope you learned something from what I just shared while I'm cooking, and I hope you learned some more in your experience. And also, I would like to ask you, if you're getting married now, or if you've already gotten married, to let me know what you can relate to the topic that I just shared, and to let me know what you think is best that I should add for this topic so that we could share it for the rest of the people. Thank you, enjoy, and have a great day!